This is question 9. It's another kind of number patterns question. So it says the Shard is one of the world's newest skyscrapers. The 72-storey glass-clad pyramidal tower in London has been widely acclaimed as an architectural masterpiece. It is currently the tallest building in the EU, standing at 310 metres high. The building comprises offices, restaurants, a 5-star hotel, residential apartments, and the city's highest viewing gallery, and it was opened to the public on the 1st of February 2013. The construction cost of the first story of the building was 1.95 million. The construction cost of each subsequent story was 0.5 million more than the floor immediately below it. So part A says complete the table below and show the construction cost for the first 5 stories of the building. Okay, so first of all, guys, I'm using a different marker because some students were saying that they couldn't quite see what I was writing. So thanks for that feedback, guys. And let's get started. So if the first story costs 1.95 million, okay, then you're going to add 0.5 for the second story, 0.15, which is equal to 2.1 million. Alright, so 2.1 there. Then I'm going to add 0.15 again, so plus 0.15, not 1.5, which is equal to 2.25 million. Okay, 2.25. I'm going to add 0.15 to that, and I get 2.4. Okay, then I'm going to add 2.4 and 0.15, which gives me the 5th story of the building, which is 2.55 million euro. 2.55. B says find in terms of n a formula for the construction cost of the nth story of the building. I'm sure a lot of students who are watching this probably feel like one of the tricky parts of number patterns is knowing to when to use the T of n formula or the S and n formula. Okay, well, the best way I could try and say it is that the S and n formula is for when you're adding the cost on, so like total cost or the sum of, words like that. This one says find in terms of n a formula for the construction cost of the nth story. So they're not talking about they're not saying the cost of all the floors together. They're asking what's the final cost of the final floor, just that floor by itself. So that kind of highlights to me that we're going to need the T of n formula, which is equal to A plus n minus 1 multiplied by the common difference, which is D. You should notice now, guys, the common difference is 0.15. It's an arithmetic sequence, alright? So sub our values in. A is the first term, which is 1.95, plus n, which we don't know, minus 1 times the common difference, which is 0.15. Finish it off and you get 1.95 plus 0.5 or 0.15 n minus 0.15, which is equal to 1.8 plus 0.15 n. And that is a general formula for the construction cost of the nth story. Okay, so using your formula or otherwise, find the construction cost of the top story of the building. Just to note, guys, that it's kind of nice that they give you this or otherwise idea, because you know from the question that the Shard is 72 stories high. So all I have to do is sub 72 into my formula, which I'm about to do. But you could have gone the long way and just added 0.15 on and on and on until you got to the 72nd story. The only thing is it'll take ages and you use up a lot of space, and you risk kind of running out of time for the rest of the question. So just be careful there, guys. I totally recommend that you try with the T of n formula, but it is nice to know that if the T of n formula doesn't quite work out for you, you have an alternative option. So let's do the T of n. So T of n is equal to, as we worked out, 1.8 plus 0.15 n. Now you know that the Shard has 72 stories, that's what they gave to you. So we're looking for the construction cost of the top story, which means we're looking for T of 78, which is going to be 72, which is equal to 1.5 plus 0.15 multiplied by 72. Sorry, that should be 1.8. 1.8 plus 10.8. Okay, which is going to give me a total construction cost of 12.6 million. Okay, so that's how much the last floor of the building costs. This question says find in terms of n a formula for the total construction cost of the first n stories. Now, total construction cost, so that means the cost of the first floor added to the second floor added to the third floor all the way up to the 72nd building. So this time you are going to use the S of n formula, which is equal to n divided by 2 curly bracket a 2a minus plus n minus 1 times the common difference. Okay, so sub your values in. We know what n is now. We know that there's 70, or sorry, we're looking for the nth term, so we're going to Subbing the values we know, so it's going to equal n divided by 2, curly bracket 2 times the first term, which is 1.95, plus n minus 1 times the common difference is 0.15. So that's going to equal n over 2, which is going to, in brackets, is going to be 3.75, okay, plus 0.15n. Okay, so next thing you need to do, guys, is oh, sorry, that's it. My apologies. That's it. So now you have a general term for n. Okay. Right. E says using your formula or otherwise find the total construction cost of the building. So let's go with the formula that we just worked out. We won't use curly brackets. We'll just use regular brackets. 3.75 plus 0.15n. Okay. So in this case, guys, we're trying to find S of n, or in this case, S of the 72 stories. So it's going to be 72 divided by 2. 3.75 plus 0.15 times 72. Okay. Which is going to equal 72 divided by 2 is 36. Alright. So it's 36 multiplied by 3.75 plus 10.8 plus 10.8. Which is going to equal 36 multiplied by 14.55, and 36 multiplied by 14.55 gives me, I'll just put the equals up here, it's going to give me 523.8 million euro, okay, and that was how much the shard cost to build in total. Okay, so part F is a bit of a tricky question. A rival developer wants to build a taller skyscraper. He purchased a suitable site for 310 million. Based on the same construction costs and a total budget of 950 million, what is the maximum number of stories that can be constructed in the building? Okay, first things first. Think about the formula you worked out up here, right? So that's a general formula for the total cost of the building. So why not let that equal the total cost of money that he has, right? So n over 2, bracket 3.75 plus 0.15 n is going to equal 950 minus 310. I'm going to skip a little chapter here, guys. That's 640 euro. Or sorry, not 640 euro, 640 million euro, okay? Alright, so we need to find a value for n when this formula is equal to 640. Is that okay? So now it's a little bit of algebra. So first thing I'm going to do, because whatever n is multiplying this by, or sorry, whatever this is being multiplied by is divided by 2. So multiply it by both sides by 2, and I'm left with n bracket 3.75 plus 0.15 n is equal to 2 times 640, which is 1,280, okay? Next thing, multiply it all out, and I'm going to get 3.75n plus 0.15n squared, and I'm going to skip a chapter, bring that over, minus 1,280 is equal to 0. Just rearrange to a kind of layout that you're used to, 0.15n squared plus 3.75n minus 1,280 is equal to 0. Okay, so the next thing you'd want to do, guys, is deal with numbers not so awkward. So if I multiply this upwards, if I multiply to get 0.15 up as far as just 1, I will get n squared plus 25n minus 8,400. Okay, alright, and that's equal to 0. To highlight here, guys, that to get from 0.15 to 1 you have to multiply by 6.666666, and that's what you get when you multiply this up. They've taken a little bit of a liberty here, but just remember, guys, if you let points, so you've probably realised now that you should probably use the minus b formula, okay? So if you use the minus b formula, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 25, c is equal to minus 8,400, and you could have used it for 0.15, 3.75 and minus 1,280 if you liked, okay? Alright, so as it turns out, guys, you can actually factorize it this way, alright, where the factors of 8,400 are going to be 105 and minus 80, okay? So that means n plus 105, n minus 80. So remember, this is equal to 0 and this is equal to 0. Therefore, you're saying n plus 105 is equal to 0 and n minus 80 is equal to 0. 105 is going to come across the equals there, and minus 8 is going to come across the equals there. So your two values for n are going to be n is equal to minus 105 and other n is equal to plus 80. Okay, this is your answer, because you can't have minus 105 stories, that's not possible. So 80 stories is the end of this question. That's the maximum number of stories he can build with his budget. And that was a number patterns question, question 9, paper 1. And that's all the videos from paper 1 up on YouTube now.